So, I finally got into Metroid. Are you happy now? Is this what you wanted? Don't get me wrong, I'm not talking to the audience here. I'm talking to my friends who forced me to play this entire series. Except Dread, because I don't own that one. These games are fun, but there are some games that are really fun. But first we have to talk about these two. Zero Mission is by far the least interesting Metroid game in the entire series. But don't worry, it has pros kind of. Samus in this game controls incredibly well. Her shots are fast, her jumping is tight, there's the grab move which is really good, and her running speed is also very balanced. This was my favorite part of the game. Of course, the appeal of Metroid and any Metroidvania is that you collect power-ups, and these power-ups give you stronger power-ups, which lead to bigger and stronger power-ups, and it just becomes a satisfying glob of just collecting power-ups and becoming an unstoppable force. It's also very appealing that it's one big level. You don't have to go through some sort of select screen or menu. You can just keep going and going. But what sets Metroid apart from the other ones is its replayability. There's plenty of movement to learn, which lets you just skip entire areas. The bomb jump is a classic. You just time your bombs and you go flying into the air. You can even do it diagonally. Wall jump is an incredibly precise move that I wouldn't be surprised if someone who's played this game for the first time doesn't even know it has a wall jump. It has one. Every 2D Metroid game has one. A Shine Spark is one of the best moves for this. After speeding with the speed booster, you can save the speed boost by crouching, and then you can just fly towards any direction. You can also Shine Spark into a speed boost into a Shine Spark by Shine Sparking into ramps. And you can Shine Spark in midair. This move allows for a myriad of ways to get through the map, and it lets players be creative in that process. The issue is that Zero Mission doesn't let you have that creativity. The routes in the game are very planned out, and if you don't know where they are, you're not going to find them. There's a route to get to Ridley early. It's located in a very specific room blocked by a very specific missile block, and to reach it, you have to freeze one of the enemies near the location and hit that spot. How would anyone figure that out? This is where Super Metroid has the advantage. Super Metroid gives you that creative freedom to experiment and look for your own paths. The problem is that it's not as tightly controlled, so you have a harder time finding routes. We're talking so much about replaying the game and experiencing it differently, we're not even focusing on what's really important, the initial experience. If the initial experience of a game is weak, then why would anyone replay it? It almost seems like these two Metroid games focus too much on the pathfinding and the routes. They forget about the initial playthrough. Zero Mission suffers from this the most. It's well designed, it controls well, it plays very nicely, but it's not very memorable. The most memorable part of the game is spoilers, so it's in the end, and when that's the biggest reason for me to replay a game, no thanks. Areas blend in too much. Bosses are nothing to write home about. The story? What story? There's nothing. Super is a little better in this regard. There are more scripted story sequences and memorable moments, but the game always grinds to a halt when the player gets stuck in some weird room that has no apparent exit. And this game isn't going to help you find the way. What is this? A modern video game? There was a point where, no kidding, I had to go back to a previous area with no indication to go there, of course, and then return to the area I was. Super also controls very weirdly. Samus's jump is quite floaty, and neither walking nor running is as good as Zero Mission's base walking speed. It at least teaches you how to wall jump and Shine Spark, but at that point you're already far into your playthrough. To really take advantage of these moves, you'll have to start a new game. And I don't blame people if they just don't want to do that. Many people call Super Metroid a 10 out of 10 game, masterpiece, but it truly only is a masterpiece if you take the time to replay it and learn all the tricks. The question is if people are gonna bother doing that, and personally, I'm not that convinced. At least not today. Back when it launched, people were probably just surprised to see a mini-map. These are both solid games, but their failings are kind of frustrating. They get a lot right, but these issues stop them from truly feeling special for me. That's why they get the same score of 7 out of 10. If you want to get into Metroid, play Zero Mission first. If you want to know what Super is all about, you gotta replay it. Me though, I'd rather spend time on a better Metroid.